What if mastering any challenge isn't about sheer effort, but about clever thinking? In this audiobook, you'll learn valuable strategies that top thinkers use to foresee changes, make better choices, and find lasting success. Unlock your ability to outsmart hurdles, act with precision, and confidently steer your life's path. Let's dive in. Why is strategic thinking your ultimate superpower? Here's a question for you. When life throws you a curveball, do you just react, or do you take a moment to think strategically? In a fast-paced world that constantly pulls at your attention, how often do you stop and consider, what's the smartest move I can make right now? That quick pause, just a heartbeat of intentional thought, is where real power emerges. It's the moment when average folks become exceptional. It's the shift from checkers to chess. This is the essence of strategic thinking, and trust me, it's your greatest asset. That split second can alter everything. Many people operate on autopilot. They wake up, scroll through their phones, react to whatever comes their way, respond to emails, and rush from one task to another, struggling to catch their breath. When challenges pop up, they respond urgently, not thoughtfully. Emotions take control: panic, frustration, fear. These feelings guide their choices. But strategic thinkers play by a different set of rules. They pause, observe, and plan. Instead of just reacting to the present, they consider what might happen 5 steps down the line. They ask questions like, what's the long-term goal? How does this fit into the bigger picture? What will be the consequences of this decision? This way of thinking allows some individuals to navigate chaos calmly, shift gears under pressure, and achieve remarkable results, while others are stuck just putting out fires. And here's the truth. Strategic thinking isn't just for military leaders, CEOs, or political strategists. It's for you, right here and now. Regardless of your background, position, or ambitions, you have access to this skill. All you need to do is learn to harness it, and that's precisely what this audiobook will teach you. So what is strategic thinking, really? Let's set the record straight. It's not about being manipulative, rigid, or cold-hearted. It's not about scheming endlessly or trying to outsmart everyone around you. This isn't an elite skill meant for boardrooms or war rooms. Strategic thinking is simply a way to approach challenges and seize opportunities. Strategic thinking is all about being clear, forward-thinking, and smart. It's about making choices instead of just reacting. It means taking a moment to think things through, picking your battles wisely, and anticipating what might happen next. It's about noticing trends, grasping how things connect, and knowing just what to do to create real change. It's personal, too. This kind of thinking can help you figure out the best way to handle it when your partner is upset. It can steer you through job changes, tough talks, parenting challenges, business hurdles, and money worries. It gives you a sense of control when everything feels chaotic, and it offers you options when you might feel trapped. Think of it as your mental GPS. You choose your destination, see where you're starting from, look at your options, dodge the bumps in the road, and then you move forward with confidence. Why is strategic thinking more important now than ever? We're in a time of information overload and endless distractions. The pace of life is picking up, but strategic thinking teaches you to slow down even when everything else is racing by. It's like knowing how to sail through a storm instead of just being swept away by it. This approach helps you make quicker, smarter choices. It eases stress and keeps your emotions in check. It clarifies your goals and priorities, giving you an edge in work, relationships, and daily life. Plus, it builds your confidence through clear understanding. Let's consider 2 people who unexpectedly lose their jobs. Person A panics. They fire off hundreds of resumes, grab the first job that replies, and end up feeling stuck, underpaid, and burned out for a whole year. Why? Because they reacted without a plan. Now, Person B takes a day to digest the shock. They pause, evaluate their finances, think about their long-term goals, reach out to mentors, and only go for jobs that match their values and skills. Within months, they land a position that not only pays better, but also lights up their passion. Same situation, totally different results. The key? One reacted, the other strategized. Strategic thinking and success go hand in hand. Look at the top achievers in any field: entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, leaders. What's the common thread? Yes, they work hard. Yes, they're disciplined. But more than anything, they're strategic. They don't just show up and hope for the best. They plan, they adapt, and they succeed. They assess risks. They know when to say yes, and just as importantly, when to say no. They think several steps ahead, anticipate roadblocks, and keep their eyes on the prize, even when things get chaotic. Strategic thinking helps you manage what you can control, handle uncertainties, and seize opportunities. And here's the trick. It's not about crafting perfect plans. It's about becoming skilled at adapting wisely when changes happen. The top strategists aren't stuck in their ways. They're flexible, resilient, and clear on their priorities. That's what this audiobook aims to teach you. It's not just about better planning, it's about smarter thinking. It'll guide you to navigate life's challenges more effectively. So what's in store? Let's break down the journey. First, we'll dive into what builds a strategic mindset. It's all about stepping away from emotional reactions and embracing long-term thinking. Next, we'll focus on clarity, figuring out what you truly want and mapping out how to achieve it. After that, we'll tackle information gathering, helping you find what you need without getting bogged down in overanalysis. Then we'll look at the big picture, spotting hidden links and getting a deeper grasp of complicated situations. We'll explore the power of anticipation, learning to plan for what's ahead while dealing with the now. Timing comes next, knowing when to act, when to hold back, and how to move with precision. We'll also discuss leverage, showing you how to achieve greater results with less effort by using your resources wisely. Staying agile is crucial to adapting to change without losing sight of your goals. Then we'll dive into the psychology of strategy, mastering how to understand people, build influence, and communicate effectively. Finally, we'll tie everything together with execution, transforming strategy into action and success. Each chapter will come packed with examples, practical tools, and mindset shifts to sharpen your thinking, enhance your leadership, and approach problems like a pro. By the end, you won't just grasp strategic thinking, you'll embody it. You'll navigate life with more intention, strength, and grace. You'll cut through the noise and create outcomes that truly matter to you. Remember, you have what it takes. You don't need to be a genius to succeed. Think strategically. You don't need a fancy degree or a high IQ. What you really need is the willingness to take a breath, think things through, and act with intention. That's all there is to it. You've got what it takes already. This book, it's just a guide, and I'll be here with you all the way. So, take a deep breath. Get ready to shift into a new gear, because you're about to learn how to tackle any challenge, not by chance, but by choice. Let's dive in. Here's the deal. Your greatest power isn't just your knowledge, talent, or experience. It's your ability to choose how to think. In the end, it's not the smartest, fastest, or strongest who come out on top. It's those who can pause, evaluate, and think clearly when under pressure. That's what having a strategic mindset is all about. Let's clear this up. When people hear strategy, they often think of military leaders with maps, business moguls crunching numbers, or chess players planning their moves. Sure, those are examples, but strategic thinking isn't just for high-stakes scenarios or boardrooms. It's a mindset. It's a way to approach decisions, challenges, and opportunities with purpose and a big-picture view. It's about asking yourself, what do I want to achieve? What's the smartest way to get there? What hurdles might I face, and how can I get ready? What resources do I have, and how can I use them wisely? Strategic thinkers don't jump into action just because something seems urgent. They wait until it makes sense, weighing options, considering outcomes, and positioning themselves for success. Not just in the moment, but for the long haul. Here's the difference. A reactive mind might say, I'm angry, so I'll respond right now. A strategic mind, on the other hand, thinks, I'm angry, so I'll take a moment to cool down and figure out how to handle this in a way that actually fixes the problem. When things go wrong, a reactive mind panics. A strategic mind takes a step back, reassesses, and looks for solutions. A reactive mind seeks quick fixes, while a strategic mind focuses on lasting results. This isn't about being slow or indecisive. It's about being intentional. It's about choosing how to respond, rather than letting emotions, pressure, or fear take the wheel. Let's be honest. Reacting is easy. It feels natural. When something unexpected happens, it often triggers a quick reaction in us. We're hardwired this way. Our instinct is to either fight or flee, immediate responses, survival mode. But today, we aren't in the wild anymore. We face challenges that require us to think, not just react. This is where many people stumble. They send impulsive, angry emails, make hasty purchases, lash out at loved ones, or quit things too soon, or sometimes hold on way too long because they're stuck in that reaction mode. It's not completely their fault. Society glorifies speed. We hear, move fast, act now. Don't think, just do. But here's the thing, it's not speed you need, it's direction. That's what strategic thinking offers you, guidance. Strategic thinkers take a moment to pause, they reflect, they train themselves to think before they act, to plan before they speak, to consider consequences before they happen. And that pause, that's where your real power lies. It's about trading emotional reactions for calm analysis. Now let's talk about emotions. We all have them, and emotions aren't bad. They're signals telling us how we feel, but they're not always the best guides for decisions. Picture this. You're driving and someone cuts you off. Your heart races. You feel like honking, shouting, or speeding up. But if you take just a moment to pause and think strategically, you realize that this moment doesn't deserve your energy. Now think bigger. An argument with someone you care about, a setback at work, a financial issue, or a health scare. Your initial reaction might be fear or anger. But if you've trained your mind, you can recognize those feelings without acting on them. Here's a useful trick, the 3-second rule. Before you respond, pause for 3 seconds and ask yourself, what outcome do I want? Is this reaction helping or hurting that outcome? What would the strategic version of me do next? Those 3 seconds can save relationships, preserve your energy, and totally shift the situation's course. The goal isn't to push your emotions down, it's about managing them wisely. Think of your feelings like the weather. You can't stop the storm, but you can choose how to dress for it, how to navigate through it, and whether to charge ahead blindly or move with intention. Calm analysis means stepping back from the storm and asking, what's really happening? What are my options? This small switch from emotion to evaluation can turn chaos into clarity, building your mental discipline along the way. Let's talk about long-term thinking. This is where most people fall short. Discipline. You see, strategic thinking isn't just about your choices in the moment. It's how you train your mind over time. Mental discipline means working on your ability to hold off on immediate rewards and resist those quick impulses. Think about where you want to be in 6 months. Picture what future you would want to thank you for doing today. What habits, thoughts, or people are steering you off track? Many folks decide based on how they feel right now. But strategic thinkers look at the bigger picture. They think about where they want to be down the line. Sure, it isn't always fun. It requires some self-control. But trust me, it pays off every single time. Here's a handy tip. Try the future you test. Before you make a decision, picture your future self watching the choice you're about to make. Would they cheer you on, or would they cringe at the fallout? This practice helps you step back and gain perspective. When you zoom out, the little things don't stress you out as much. You stop chasing quick wins that could mess up your long-term goals. Take a real-world example. You get a job offer that pays well, but the hours are grueling and the workplace is toxic. A reactive mind might think, I need money, and just say yes. A strategic mind, however, would pause and consider, yes, money matters, but what's this going to cost me later? My health, my peace of mind, my time with family? That moment of reflection can empower you to negotiate better conditions, find a smarter alternative, or even draw up a transition plan. This is strategic power, training your mind to think strategically every day. Now, you might wonder if this is something you can learn, or if some people are just born with it. Let me assure you, strategic thinking can absolutely be learned. Like any skill, it takes practice, repetition, and intention. Here are some daily exercises to sharpen your strategic thinking. First, ask better questions. When you face a challenge, wonder, what's really going on here? What does success look like? What's the smartest next step? Strategic thinkers focus on finding clarity, not fixating on problems. Next, journal your decisions. Spend 5 minutes at the end of your day reflecting. What choices did you make? Did you act strategically or react emotionally? What can you change tomorrow? This builds awareness and consistency over time. Lastly, play mental chess. When you hit a tough spot, don't just think about your immediate move. Consider 2, 3, or even 4 steps ahead. Ask yourself, if I do this, what comes next? Life is a lot like chess. It rewards those who can foresee challenges instead of just reacting. Surround yourself with strategic thinkers. Your surroundings are crucial. Spend time with people who plan for the long term, who make thoughtful choices, and who prioritize growth over gossip. Their behaviors will influence you. Now let's shift from reacting to being strategic. You weren't meant to drift through life. You're meant to lead and make thoughtful, strong choices. Every challenge becomes easier when you move from reacting to thinking strategically. It's not just a skill, it's who you become. You won't be the one who panics or overreacts anymore. Instead, you'll take a moment to assess and think ahead. So start embracing that new identity. Practice taking a pause. Ask the smart questions. Think about your next move instead of acting on impulse. Remember, your mind is your strongest tool. Master it, and you can outsmart any challenge. Now let's talk about clarity. What do you really want? Most people struggle to answer that clearly. They might say they want to be successful or happy, but that's not specific enough. It's just a wish, not a plan. Strategic thinking begins with knowing what you want. If you don't have a clear target, you can't create a solid plan to reach it. Without direction, every detour looks like an opportunity. Think about it. Driving without a destination means wasting gas, going in circles, and ending up lost. That's how many people approach life. They wake up and react to whatever's urgent. They chase random chances and mimic others without asking themselves, is this really getting me closer to what I want? Without clarity, you end up saying yes to distractions. You spend time on goals that aren't yours, mistaking busyness for progress. That's a hidden trap. You can be active without actually moving forward. But clarity changes everything. When you know your end goal, every decision becomes simpler. You stop just reacting and start making moves that count. You start to move with purpose. So let's dig into it. What do you truly want? Not what your parents expect, not what society says is cool. What do you actually want? Think beyond just surface-level answers. Consider these questions. What does success look like for you? What kind of life do you envision? How do you want to impact others? What do you want to be remembered for? In 10 years, what will you regret not doing? It's not just about chasing a job or a title. It's about chasing a feeling, a lifestyle, a legacy. The more specific you are, the stronger your vision becomes. Instead of saying, I want to be successful, say, I want to create a business that gives me freedom and helps others. I want to be debt-free and have $100,000 saved by 40. I want to work 4 days a week and spend Fridays with my family. That's clarity. And that clarity drives action. Now let's talk about how to make that goal real. Don't just sit back and admire what you want. Break it down. Strategic thinkers map things out backward. They start with the end goal and ask, what needs to happen for this to be real? For instance, if you want to be a published author, picture yourself holding your book. What comes right before that? Maybe it's getting a publishing deal. Before that, you need to finish your manuscript. Then you write the chapters, outline your book, and carve out time each week to write. Suddenly, your dream feels manageable, a series of clear steps. That's reverse engineering. It's a fast track from dreams to strategy. Let's say your goal is financial freedom in 10 years. What does that mean for you? How much money? What kind of lifestyle? How much do you need to earn, save, and invest yearly? What skills or opportunities can help? What can you start doing now? Break that big goal into smaller, trackable milestones. Those milestones become your roadmap. People don't fail due to laziness. They fail because they lack direction. Strategic thinkers map out their steps backward. Let's tie everything together. Clarity without action, that's just noise. Strategic thinkers don't simply ask, what should I do? They dig deeper and ask, what's most important right now based on where I want to go? That's the trick to focusing on outcomes. Not every task holds the same weight. Some might seem urgent, but don't really matter. Meanwhile, there are things that feel less urgent but are incredibly important. Strategic thinkers focus on what truly impacts their goals, not just what catches their attention. Imagine your aim is to launch a side business in 6 months. You could easily find yourself scrolling through branding ideas, binge-watching logo design tutorials, Or you could use that time to build your first product, connect with potential clients, or test your idea. Which path pushes you forward the quickest? Every day, ask yourself, does this task align with my ultimate goal? Will it bring me closer to what I want, or is it just keeping me busy? Here's a handy tool, the Power Priority Filter. Jot down your top 3 goals, then make your weekly to-do list. For each task, ask yourself, does this support one of my top goals? If it doesn't, consider cutting it out, delegating it, or postponing it. This simple habit could save you hundreds of hours over the next year. Plus, it gives you the confidence to say no. Once you know your destination, it's not just okay but necessary to say no to things that don't help you get there. Remember, saying no to the good lets you say yes to the great. Here's another valuable exercise. Boil your entire strategy down to one sentence. For instance, I'm building a coaching business to replace my 9-to-5 income in a year. Or, I'm focusing on my health so I can enjoy the next 20 years. This forces you to be clear. If you can't sum up your strategy in one sentence, then you might need to rethink it. Write it down, read it daily, and let it shape your decisions. In closing, don't just move, move with purpose. Remember, movement isn't the same as progress. Clarity transforms your efforts into real momentum. You're not here just to keep busy. You're here to create something meaningful and to live intentionally, not on autopilot. Lead your life instead of just reacting to it. Strategic thinking isn't about being flawless, it's about being precise. Start today by defining what you truly want, not what others think you should want. Break that goal down into simple daily actions and prioritize what matters. When you're clear about the what and the why, the how will follow. It's a lot clearer now. You're not just dreaming, you're creating. Think about it like stepping onto a battlefield. You can't see the landscape, and you don't know where the enemy might be hiding. You have no clue about the weapons at your disposal. Would you just rush in? Absolutely not. Yet that's how many people tackle life, whether in business, relationships, or health. They dive in without understanding. They confuse taking action with actually knowing what to do. But not you. You're learning to think strategically, and here's the key principle. Information is your weapon. Learn before you leap. Clarity is power, and good information gives you precision. It helps you see things clearly, aim well, and move with confidence. This gives you an advantage that most people miss out on because they don't take the time to educate themselves. Let's break down this crucial habit. A smart strategist gathers knowledge before jumping in. All great strategists, from ancient thinkers to today's CEOs, agree knowledge is powerful, but only if it's the right kind. You don't need to know everything, just enough of the right stuff to make a smart move. For instance, think about starting a business. What information should you seek? Who are your customers? What do they currently buy? What are their complaints? What gaps exist in the market? What are your competitors doing? And importantly, what aren't they doing? You don't need an MBA to figure this out. All it takes is curiosity and discipline. Here's the shift. Stop guessing. Start exploring. Make research part of your strategy, not as a way to put things on hold, but as your launch pad. The best strategic moves often seem effortless, but they're always backed by insights. Now, how do you collect relevant, timely information? Let's get practical with 3 filters to use in your research. First, relevance. Does this info actually help you make a decision or solve a real problem? Don't waste time chasing after knowledge just to feel smart. Next, timeliness. Is this information up to date? The world changes quickly, so don't base your plans on advice that's 5 years old. Finally, credibility. Who's giving you this info? Are they experienced and trustworthy, or just loud voices? Remember, the internet is full of noise. It's noisy out there, and your job is to find the signal. Start by gathering a few reliable sources, then broaden your perspective before diving deep. Say you want to get better at managing your money. Don't just grab the first course you see or follow some random influencer. Read foundational books, compare different views, look at the numbers, talk to folks who've been where you want to go. And here's the crucial part. Don't stop at the basics. Ask yourself about the implications. What's the context? How does it relate to your own situation? Strategic thinkers dig deeper. They don't just care about what happened. They want to know why it happened and what lessons they can pull from it. Avoid the traps of overthinking or diving in too recklessly. Now let's discuss the pitfalls. There's paralysis by analysis, the endless searching for the perfect answer which doesn't exist. You'll never feel completely ready. Then there are those who act without any thought or planning, just rushing in and crashing. Both extremes are risky, so what's a better way? Learn enough to grasp the big picture. Spot the gaps in your knowledge and fill the crucial ones. Move ahead with a solid yet flexible plan. Think about it like this. You wouldn't build a house without a blueprint, but you also shouldn't keep redrawing it forever. Your aim isn't to find perfect information, it's to gather enough strategic insight. Ask yourself what you need to know to make a confident choice. What's the minimum amount of knowledge so you can act wisely? Once you hit that spot, refine as you go. Turning research into actionable insight is where strategy stands out from mere trivia. Collecting facts isn't enough. You have to look for patterns. Ask what's working and why, what gaps exist, and what others are missing that you can capitalize on. For instance, if you're gearing up for a career change, research the job market, spot key skills in demand. You may find that storytelling and data analysis are valued in your dream role. That's the insight you need. Now you can take action. Learn those skills, create a project that showcases them, and position yourself right. Here's a simple 3-step process to turn any research into insights. First, collect wisely. Use filters for relevance, timeliness, and credibility. Next, synthesize quickly. Don't just copy, combine. Look for overlaps, contradictions, and hidden chances. Lastly, act right away. Apply what you've learned. Let's dive into something important. Testing things out in small, low-risk ways can help you learn quicker. Remember, data doesn't mean much if you don't know where to guide it. Having insights without acting on them is just a fancy way to pass the time. Think of knowledge as an investment. The more you learn, the more connections your brain makes. Spotting patterns leads to making quick decisions. This is why high achievers are always reading. They're not just memorizing stuff, they're training their minds to see things differently. Every book, every chat, every article becomes a tool in your mental toolkit. So, when tough times hit or you face a quick decision, you can grab exactly what you need. That's not just luck, it's all about preparation. Ask yourself, what should I be learning this week? What's one part of my life or work where I could really boost my knowledge? Pick that focus and dive in. Not forever, just enough to be smarter than most people who never bother. Here's the takeaway. Don't just move aimlessly, move with insight. Fast is good, being smart is better. But being fast and smart, that's unbeatable. You don't have to be the loudest or flashiest person in the room. You just need clarity when others are lost. When you learn before you act, you won't just react, you'll respond more thoughtfully. You'll save time, avoid mistakes, and improve your chances. That's strategy, not magic. So gather reliable information. Don't rush or jump in blindly. Turn research into insight and then action. In a world full of noise, the one who thinks clearly will triumph. Think of this, 2 chess players. One is stuck on their next move. The other one, they're seeing the whole board, thinking several steps ahead. Who wins? It's the one who sees the big picture. In life, at work, or in relationships, it's not just about what's in front of you. The best strategists don't just react, they see how everything fits together. They get the patterns and can foresee what's coming next. That's the essence of big picture thinking. In a noisy world full of distractions, being able to take a step back and see things clearly is a true superpower. At the core of this big picture thinking is something called systems thinking. So what is systems thinking? It's the ability to understand how different parts connect to the whole. Instead of looking at problems one by one, you start to see patterns, interdependencies, and hidden causes. Let's make it real. Imagine you're a manager and your team's productivity is slipping. Most folks would just focus on getting individuals to work harder or change their habits. But a systems thinker pauses to ask, has the workload shifted? Are the tools outdated? Is communication suffering? Is something earlier in the process causing issues down the line? They zoom out to find root causes, not just symptoms. That's strategic thinking in action. Every challenge is part of a bigger system. Once you grasp the system, you can influence it, redesign it, and outsmart it. Strategic thinkers have a unique gift. They see connections where others see chaos. They connect dots across industries, fields, and even time. While most people stick to their own paths, strategists are busy looking at the bigger picture. They search for trends, pivotal moments, ripple effects, and relationships between forces. This networked way of thinking is rare and powerful. Take Elon Musk, for example. Regardless of your opinion on him, his strategy is built on systems thinking. He links energy, transportation, AI, and space exploration. That's not by chance. It's all about perspective. You don't have to be a billionaire to think this way. You just need to practice pulling back and asking bigger questions. How does this fit into the larger picture? What are the ripple effects? Who else is impacted by this choice? What patterns can I see? Big picture thinkers don't just notice what is happening, they envision what could be. Now let's dig deeper. Big picture thinking helps train your brain to recognize patterns, and patterns are the strategist's secret weapon. Why? Because human behavior, market trends, and personal growth all follow patterns. Once you spot a pattern, you can foresee outcomes, dodge mistakes, and find leverage points. For instance, maybe you realize you tend to rush when under pressure. That's a strategic insight. Now you can plan for it, slow down, and set up systems to protect yourself. Or perhaps every time your team rolls out a new product without getting customer feedback, it doesn't do well. That's a clear pattern. So you tweak your approach. Great strategists don't just put in more effort. They focus on working smarter because they learn from these patterns. Ask yourself this regularly. What's really going on here beneath the surface? The more you look for patterns, the easier it becomes to spot them. And when you act on those patterns, your moves become far more strategic. Now let's get tactical. Think about how strategists like military leaders or top negotiators map their landscape. They never enter a situation without knowing what's what. They ask, who are the players in this game? Who is involved directly or indirectly? Who holds influence even behind the scenes? Where's the power? Who calls the shots? What are the interests at stake? What could each person gain or lose? How are alliances forming or changing? Whether you're stepping into a business meeting, negotiating a deal, or starting a new relationship, this kind of mapping gives you insight. Once you understand the power dynamics, you can position yourself wisely. Picture this. You're applying for a job. Instead of just sending in your resume, you look into who is on the hiring team, what their backgrounds are, what values they cherish, and who might back you up inside the company. That's how you navigate the board, not just the game. It's the same in personal relationships. Who influences your partner's choices? What are the emotional currents? What unspoken rules exist? Understanding the board helps you sidestep pitfalls and seize opportunities that others might miss. Now think broader and deeper. Big picture thinkers don't just consider the immediate, they think about the long-term game. What happens if I make a move today? What will it mean next week or next year? They also think in layers. What's the surface issue? What's the underlying emotional or systemic cause? How will this impact things 3 steps down the line? For instance, if you're contemplating a career change, don't just ask, will this make me more money? Dig deeper. Ask, how will this change my lifestyle? What new skills can I learn? Where could this path take me in 5 years? What opportunities will it create or shut down? That's what layered thinking looks like, turning decisions into smart investments. Here's a little daily exercise for you. Before you act, take a step back and ask yourself. Imagine the ripple effect of your choices over time. You'll start to think like a grandmaster in chess, planning not just your next move, but your next 5. You'll steer clear of tunnel vision and the traps of short-term thinking. One of life's biggest pitfalls is getting so fixated on one issue that you miss the bigger picture. Tunnel vision can lead to bad choices, like prioritizing quick wins over long-lasting success. You might solve one problem but end up creating 3 more. Strategic thinkers pull back and look at the whole board before zooming in. They ask themselves, is this part of the long game? What am I giving up? Am I tackling the right issue? This isn't about being overly cautious. It's about staying calm and calculated. When you understand the landscape, you become that rare person who doesn't panic when chaos hits because you've already figured it out. So here's the message. See further, play smarter. Big picture thinking isn't just for CEOs or military leaders. It's something anyone can learn. Start asking larger questions. Look for connections, notice patterns, and understand the dynamics at play. Identify the key players, see how everything connects, and anticipate moves ahead. While everyone else is stuck on their next step, you'll be planning 10 steps down the line. That's not luck, that's vision. That's how you beat challenges before they even come your way. Now let's talk about anticipation, the key to overcoming obstacles. In every game, negotiation, or challenge, there's a moment when someone who can see what's ahead takes charge. It's not flashy or dramatic, just calm planning. They know what's coming and have already thought it through. While others are reacting, they're executing their plan. That's the strength of anticipation. Strategic thinkers don't just wait for the wave to crash. They watch the tide and get ready before the storm hits. They don't just prepare for what's likely to happen. They think about what's possible. This chapter encourages you to start thinking 2, 3, or even 10 steps ahead, not out of fear, but with clarity and confidence. Let's dive into what it means to think several moves ahead. Back to the chessboard. What really sets apart the amateur from the master isn't just memorization. It's all about anticipation. The master understands that every move changes the game, so they don't merely ask, "What's my next step?" They often wonder, "What will this lead to? How will the other side react? Where will I be down the line?" In life, this might mean starting a side hustle now, knowing it'll bring freedom later. Or maybe saying no to an opportunity that would lead to the wrong kind of yes. It could also be investing in a relationship because the trust you build today pays off tomorrow. It's not sorcery, it's foresight. And foresight is a skill you can hone. You develop it by stepping back and asking yourself, if I choose this path, what's likely to come next? Then you do it over and over. Follow that chain into the future. The more you practice, the more instinctive it becomes. You'll start to spot future outcomes forming like shadows before they appear. Think about scenario planning. Prepare for different futures. Life isn't straightforward. It throws curveballs, detours, and surprises. That's why top strategists don't just plan, they scenario plan. Instead of pinning all their hopes on one outcome, they get ready for many. This isn't about being fearful, it's about being ready. Here's how to think in scenarios. First, the likely scenario. What's the most likely outcome? That's your baseline. Next, the best case scenario. If things go better than expected, what's your next move? How will you scale it or ride the wave? Then you've got the worst case scenario. If everything goes south, how do you protect yourself? What's your escape plan? Lastly, the wild card. What if something totally unexpected happens? New competition, sudden chances, or personal changes? How do you stay flexible? This strategy is used by top entrepreneurs, military leaders, and even astronauts, and it works just as well in everyday life. Planning a career shift? Map out the best and worst outcomes. Launching a product? Think about delays, demand, and recovery. Starting a relationship? Consider values, goals, and potential friction. The goal isn't to predict everything, but to be ready for whatever comes your way. Then there's contingency thinking, your hidden protection that goes hand in hand with scenario planning. It's the mindset that says, if plan A doesn't pan out, I've got B, C, and D ready. Why is this so powerful? Because it eases your fears. It builds your confidence. It keeps you calm and focused, even when things go sideways. Think of it like a mental parachute. You hope you never have to use it, but knowing it's there allows you to take bold actions. So ask yourself, what's my next move if this doesn't work? How can I change direction without losing my drive? What small tweaks can turn failures into opportunities? Thinking ahead helps you bounce back because obstacles become alternative paths. You stop being scared of uncertainty and start to welcome it. You're no longer caught off guard, you're prepared. Now let's talk about reading people and predicting their behavior before it happens. Let's make it personal. When you can anticipate what others will do, you become a powerful strategist. Every choice, every deal, every partnership involves people. And while everyone is unique, people often behave in predictable ways if you know what signs to watch for. Here's how to understand others like a pro. First, look at their motivations. Ask yourself, what does this person really want? Is it about respect, security, power, freedom, or recognition? Next, observe their behavior. How do they act when things get tough? How do they deal with disagreements? Check their past actions in similar situations. Listen closely to what's not being said. What emotions or fears are lurking under the surface? Think about how they might react. If you challenge them, will they get defensive? If you compliment them, will they open up? If you suggest a change, will they resist or go with it? When you learn to read people this way, your options expand. You'll lead more effectively, negotiate better, and calm conflicts before they explode. Most importantly, you can earn trust by showing that you get them. People don't want to feel controlled, they want to be acknowledged. The better you understand them, the better you can predict their actions and collaborate with them. Now let's focus on building your anticipation skills. How do you make it a habit? Here are 5 solid practices. First, take a moment before deciding. For any big choice, ask, what are the next 3 likely outcomes of this action? Create a gap between your impulse and what you do next. Visualize various scenarios, whether good, bad, or odd. Ask yourself, how would I react? This helps sharpen your mind. Use the 10 to 10 rule. Consider how this decision will affect you in 10 minutes, 10 months, and 10 years. It widens your perspective. Keep a what-if journal. Regularly write down potential situations and how you'd respond. Think of it as practice for different outcomes. Finally, review your decisions after key moments. Ask yourself, what did I expect? What really happened? What did I overlook? This reflection turns your experiences into valuable lessons. Every time you anticipate well, even in little things, you sharpen your skills. You train your mind for when the stakes are high. Anticipation isn't about fearing what might happen next. It's about mastering it. It's all about shifting from just reacting to predicting, moving from survival mode to strategizing, and turning uncertainty into clarity. And here's the good news. You don't need to see the whole future. You just need to look further than most people. When you think several steps ahead, plan for different outcomes, and read people clearly, you stop being just a pawn. You start becoming the one who moves the pieces. That's the real power of anticipation, and it's yours to embrace. Timing is key to strategy. Knowing when to act and when to hold back is crucial. There's a saying among experienced strategists, a perfect move at the wrong time is still a mistake. No matter how insightful or bold your ideas are, if your timing's off, they won't matter. Move too quickly and you waste your energy. Wait too long and you miss your chance. But when you act right at that perfect moment, opportunities open up. It's not only about knowing what to do, it's about knowing exactly when to do it. Let's talk about why patience is your ultimate strategic weapon. Here's a hard truth. Many people fail not due to lack of ideas or talent, but because they rush in. They chase quick wins, make impulsive moves, and push ahead when they should take a step back. Why? Because patience can feel like a weakness. It might seem like doing nothing, but in reality, patience is a hidden strength. True strategic patience is active. It means waiting with purpose, preparing while others are in a frenzy, and observing when everyone else is rushing. Think about nature for a moment. The eagle doesn't flap everywhere. It soars, watches, then dives. An archer doesn't shoot right away. They draw, aim, breathe, and then let go. A skilled negotiator doesn't rush the conversation. They listen, analyze, and reply with precision. This kind of waiting isn't passive. It's deliberate. It's understanding the difference between just moving and making progress. Most importantly, it's realizing that the aim isn't to act quickly, but to act wisely. So how do you know when to seize those crucial moments? It's all about timing. Let's dive into leverage points. Those moments when small actions lead to huge outcomes. These high leverage moments are the sweet spot in any strategy. Think about it. One conversation can change an entire deal. One small tweak can turn around a struggling project. One perfectly timed message can make all the difference. But you can easily overlook these moments if you're not paying attention. So how do you spot them? Look out for tension peaks. The best time to take action is often when emotions are running high. That's when your move can bring clarity or resolve issues. In negotiations, this is when the silence stretches and everyone is leaning in. Don't just follow your feelings. Track the market instead. Align your actions with what's happening outside, not just how impatient you feel inside. Feelings can mislead you, but patterns won't. Keep an eye on signals rather than just noise. Look for changes in behavior, timing, readiness, or power dynamics. Opportunities often whisper before they come knocking. Timing isn't just about when you feel ready. It's also about the world's readiness. Don't jump the gun. Build some anticipation, but don't wait too long either. You want to ride that wave of momentum. Think of it like surfing. You can't control the waves, but if you learn to read them, you'll know exactly when to paddle, when to stand up, and when to ride without rushing into decisions. Now, let's talk about the biggest enemy of perfect timing: impulsiveness. We've all been there. You feel that rush of inspiration, and before you know it, you've sent that email or made that call. Sometimes it works, but most times it doesn't. Impulsive decisions are usually reactive. They feel urgent, but they often miss the bigger picture. Context is key in strategy. To avoid making impulsive decisions while keeping your edge, try implementing a delay rule. For any big decision, take a 24-hour pause. Just this habit can save you from a lot of regret. Ask yourself the 5-year question: will this still matter in 5 years? This helps shift your focus from short-lived feelings to long-term thinking. Also, be aware of your triggers. What throws your timing off? Is it fear, ego, boredom, or urgency? Once you recognize those triggers, you can stop the cycle. Consider talking to a neutral party. A trusted friend or mentor can offer a fresh perspective. If they're not emotionally involved, they might spot timing issues you didn't notice. Shift your mindset from reacting to responding. Reacting is quick, responding is thoughtful. Strive for the latter. Remember, effective strategy is about stacking the odds in your favor, not gambling on impulses and avoiding analysis paralysis. Let's flip the script and talk about overthinking. Some folks get stuck in analysis mode. They scrutinize every detail, run countless scenarios, and envision every potential failure. They don't miss the train because they're late. They miss it because they hesitated to board it. That's what we call analysis paralysis. Here's how to break free without losing your strategic edge. First, set a deadline for your decision. Give yourself a solid timeline to decide, one that's realistic but firm. Remember, clarity thrives under pressure. Next, know when you've gathered enough information. Smart strategists understand that it's not about having every fact, just the right ones. Embrace the 70% rule. If you're 70% sure, it's time to act. Waiting for total certainty? That'll cost you opportunities. Even Jeff Bezos uses this approach to make quick, informed decisions. Trust the process, not just the outcome. Sometimes the result is beyond your control, but if your thinking is sharp, your timing usually hits the mark. Keep this in mind: perfection hampers progress. Many top performers wait for everything to be flawless, but guess what? Perfection doesn't really exist. Momentum is more crucial than absolute mastery. You can tweak things along the way, but a parked car isn't going anywhere. Finding the balance between speed and stillness is key. So how do you achieve that balance? Here's the truth. Strategy is about knowing when to be patient and when to be precise. You need to pause long enough to take in the whole picture, but act swiftly to grab your moment. It's about being prepared and patient. When your time comes, you won't second-guess yourself. You'll act with confidence, strength, and clarity. Think about it. A founder waits to launch but doesn't miss their chance in the market. A job seeker looks for the right fit, not just any job. A creative waits for the work to shine but doesn't edit endlessly. This is what strategic timing is all about. Master it, and you'll stop chasing life. You'll start engaging with it at its most potent. Final thoughts. Time isn't against you. It's your ally. Timing is far more than a detail in strategy. It's its lifeblood. Move too early and you fail. Move too late and you lose out. But when you find that sweet spot, the world bends in your favor. Here's a fresh mindset. I don't need to rush or drag my feet. I need to read the moment and then act with precision. Whether it's a business deal, a major life change, or just a daily decision, trusting in timing makes your presence much more powerful. Ultimately, great strategists don't force things. They feel the rhythm, then they make their move. Leverage. How to win with less effort. There's a hidden truth behind all big success stories. It's not just about nonstop hustle. It's not about grinding through endless 18-hour days or carrying the entire load alone. It's about leverage. Leverage means using a little effort to achieve a lot. Picture this. A single person can't lift a car, but give them a hydraulic jack, it multiplies their strength. Suddenly, what seemed impossible is now easy. That's leverage, and it's at your fingertips. No need for superpowers. Just think like a strategist. In this section, we'll uncover where your hidden leverage points are. It's time to work smarter, not just harder. Use people, tools, and systems to amplify your efforts. Ready to stop pushing so hard and start pulling with more strategy? Let's dive in. Leverage is a term we hear often but don't always understand. In strategic thinking, it's about using minimal effort, resources, or time to create a huge impact. It's about finding a force multiplier, turning one action into big results. Here are some real-life examples. One social media post can bring in thousands of customers. An automation tool saves you 5 hours a week. A single connection can lead to new partnerships. And a smart decision can eliminate multiple daily problems at once. Great strategists don't just ask, "What do I need to do?" They ask, "How can I make this easier, smarter, and more effective?" That shift in thinking can change everything. The first step is easy but powerful. Find where your leverage lies. Look at your goals and ask yourself, where am I putting in 80% effort but only getting 20% of the results? Conversely, identify where 80% of your results come from, just 20% of your actions. This is the famous 80-20 rule, or the Pareto principle. It reminds us that most of our successes stem from a few key efforts, so focus on the few things that matter most. Here are 4 leverage points to consider in your life. Time leverage. What tasks can you automate, delegate, or drop? Skill leverage. What unique skill gives you the biggest returns, and are you making the most of it? Network leverage. Who do you know that has connections, answers, or influence? Platform leverage. Are you building assets like content or reputation that work for you even while you sleep? To do more, focus on doing less, but doing it better. Work smarter, not harder. There's a common idea that success comes only from grinding away, but it's really the smart work that sets the achievers apart from the exhausted. Here's how to switch gears and work smart. First, batch similar tasks together. Group your emails, meetings, and creative work and tackle them in focused time blocks. This cuts down on the mental juggling and boosts your efficiency. Next, systematize things that you do repeatedly. If you find yourself doing something more than twice, create a process for it. Think templates, checklists, or standard operating procedures. These aren't just for businesses, they're for anyone who wants to save time. Try the rule of 3. Each day, pick 3 high-impact tasks. If you treat everything as a priority, nothing actually gets done. Focus is what gives you an edge. Ask better questions. Instead of "How can I finish this?" consider "How can this get done without me?" or "What would make this unnecessary?" Strategic questions open up smarter paths. Now, let's talk about leveraging relationships, one of the strongest forms of advantage that's often overlooked. Remember, if I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants, said Isaac Newton. You don't need to know everything, you just need to know the right people. Start by being a giver. Help others solve their problems and offer value before you ask for anything in return. This builds trust, and trust is powerful leverage. Map out your network. Who do you know? What are their strengths? And where can you fill gaps or vice versa? You might be surprised at how interconnected you already are. Collaborate instead of compete. Find people with strengths that complement yours and team up on projects. When the synergy is right, 1 + 1 can equal 5. And don't forget about mentors and allies. A 30-minute chat with the right mentor can save you years of struggling. Don't hesitate to reach out, ask questions, and truly listen. People aren't just contacts, they can be catalysts for your growth. Finally, let's leverage technology and tools. We're in a tech-savvy world, but many still use their smartphones to scroll rather than solve problems. Here's how to turn your tools into time savers instead of time wasters. Automate those repetitive tasks. Use tools like Calendly for scheduling and Zapier for automating workflows. AI can help with writing, summarizing, or research. Every minute you automate is a minute you get back. Use AI to amplify your efforts, not diminish them. Smart strategists embrace technology. They use it to think quicker, dive deeper into research, and carry out tasks more efficiently. Ask yourself, how can AI help me get started, speed things up, or simplify my work? Build or tap into systems like dashboards, spreadsheets, templates, or databases that keep your work organized. This frees your mind for bigger ideas. Invest once and enjoy the benefits repeatedly. Buy that gear, software, or setup just once and let it help you for years. Remember, one-time investments can lead to long-term gains. Every tool you use should either give you an advantage or distract you. Choose wisely. Now let's talk about leveraging resources. Resources are more than just money. They include time, energy, knowledge, people, and where you position yourself. Strategic thinkers ask, what do I already have that I'm not using? What resource could change everything for me? How can I turn what I lack into an opportunity? To use resources better, consider this. You can repurpose old work into new value. Turn blog posts into a book, videos into courses, or barter skills instead of paying for services. Look for underused assets like space, tools, or people, and find new ways to use them. Leveraging isn't about having more, it's about making better choices. Now, leverage doesn't mean being lazy. Some people confuse it with cutting corners or think that real success requires hard work. The truth is, leverage is about working smarter, not harder. It's about crafting your efforts so that every move counts. Think about it. Digging with a spoon versus using an excavator. It's not cheating, it's strategic thinking. The moment you grasp this concept, you open doors to new possibilities. Finally, create a life that builds on itself. The most effective use of leverage is creating things that grow over time, like relationships that deepen, content that works while you sleep, or habits that improve with repetition. Leverage goes beyond what you accomplish today. It sets you up for wins tomorrow and the next day and the day after that. Archimedes once said, "Give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, and I will move the world." You've got the lever. Now find your footing and get ready to move mountains with less effort, more finesse, and strategic power that multiplies. Sometimes life throws you a curveball. The world shifts, the rules change, and suddenly things don't go as planned. When that happens, many people freeze, panic, or just give up. But that's not how strategic thinkers operate. There's a key insight every great strategist understands. Having a plan is crucial, but being able to adjust that plan is even more important. Adapting isn't a sign of weakness, it's smart thinking in action. Let's talk about how to pivot calmly. How do you make quick decisions without losing your head? How do you stay flexible while keeping your focus? Essentially, you'll learn to bend without breaking. In today's fast-paced world, agility is a hidden strength. Being smart isn't enough. You need to be smart while moving. Strategic agility means you respond to changes clearly, make quick yet thoughtful choices, and align your actions without losing sight of your long-term goals. It's what Navy SEALs mean when they say calm is contagious. Entrepreneurs call it pivoting, and athletes refer to it as flow. It's all about adapting swiftly while keeping control. This isn't just guesswork. It's a skill, and like any skill, you can train for it. Let's start with the first key step, how to pivot without panicking. Panic often comes from surprise. It's that moment when you think you have control and then realize you don't. The first rule of strategic agility is to expect the unexpected. Change, disruptions, failures, delays, they're not rare, they're inevitable. The real question isn't if something will go wrong, but rather how prepared you are to respond. Here's how to pivot while staying calm. First, slow down before you rush into action. When everything feels urgent, reacting on impulse can be your worst enemy. Take a deep breath. Create some space. Ask yourself, what's really happening? What's the new reality? What matters most right now? Next, reassess the situation. Great strategists don't dwell on what was. They update their mental maps in real time. Consider what's changed, what remains true, and what old assumptions need to be revised. Finally, define a new objective. Reflect on your original goal. Is it still achievable? Or is there a better outcome available now? What's the next best move? Remember, pivoting isn't about giving up. It's about recalibrating. Just like a GPS, recalculating a route doesn't mean you failed. It means you're still progressing, but with better information. Sometimes, you don't have the luxury of time to think things through. You need to make choices on the spot. So, how do strategic thinkers make quick, smart decisions without getting stuck? They stick to a few key principles. They use the UDA loop, created by military strategist John Boyd. This loop is a fantastic tool for thinking quickly. First, observe the facts at hand. Then orient those facts to see what they mean for you. After that, decide on the best option, and finally, act. Move fast and be ready to repeat the process. This loop flows continuously. It keeps you sharp, flexible, and always a step ahead. Next, set your decision filters. When the pressure's on, you don't want to be creating criteria from scratch. Have those filters pre-established. Ask yourself, does this choice align with my values? Does it support my long-term vision? Does it avoid irreversible damage? These questions help you cut through the noise and act decisively. Trust your instincts. Strategic agility blends analysis with gut feeling. The more you train your mind through reading, reflecting, and recognizing patterns, the more your instincts become educated guesses rather than random reactions. Don't dismiss your gut, just ensure it's shaped by experience. Now let's talk about staying flexible while keeping your focus. Many people struggle here. They either stick too rigidly to a plan or become too scattered, shifting focus constantly. The trick is to be adaptable in your approach while being unwavering in your purpose. Keep your vision clear, but be willing to adjust your plans. Your why shouldn't change often, but your how might need tweaks along the way. If your goal is to grow a business, launch a book, or transform your health, hold on to that vision, but be ready to change your route as circumstances shift. Ask yourself, what hill am I climbing, and which path gets me there now that things have changed? Flexibility isn't about losing sight of your goal. It's about finding a better way when the old path crumbles. Use feedback, not fear. Fear makes you retreat, while feedback helps you improve. Every situation offers feedback. A failed launch, a missed opportunity, or an unexpected twist. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What can I improve? The strategic mind embraces feedback and thrives on it. Lastly, maintain your rituals amid chaos. When things start to feel uncertain, routines become your anchors. Whether it's your morning habits, journaling, a weekly review, or a mindset reset, keep those rituals steady. They serve as your compass during a storm. Consistency in your actions fosters confidence and clarity. Think clearly and act strategically. Let's dive into some real-life examples of strategic agility. First up, Netflix. They began by mailing out DVDs, but when the internet got faster, they switched gears to streaming. They didn't stick to their old ways, they adapted quickly. Then, they began making their own original shows. That decision put them head-to-head with Hollywood and made them a leader in the industry. They kept evolving. Their strategic moves built an empire. Now, consider a freelancer during a crisis. When the pandemic hit, a freelance photographer lost all her events. Instead of panicking, she asked herself, where's the demand? She shifted to product photography for online stores and set up a remote studio. Within 6 months, she was earning even more than before. She didn't wait for things to get better. She adapted quickly and clearly. That's strategic agility in action. In closing, the future is for those who can be flexible. The pace of change is faster than ever. Industries, tools, and opportunities are shifting. Rigid minds break, reactive minds panic. But strategic thinkers, they pivot, adjust, and evolve. Think of bamboo bending in a storm but never breaking. To tackle challenges in the real world, you don't need a flawless plan. You need a flexible strategy rooted in clarity, strong values, and calm thinking. Adaptation isn't just a fallback option, it's your greatest advantage. Now let's move to the topic of psychological influence. In the game of life and leadership, pure force rarely wins. Real power comes from influence, the subtle way of guiding others' thoughts, feelings, and actions without them even noticing. This is psychological warfare, not violent conflict, but a battle of minds. It's all about understanding what drives people, how they make decisions, and how to ethically shape those decisions. Today we'll cover the basics of human behavior and motivation, learn how to communicate strategically, and discover why ethics are essential when influencing others. Let's uncover the unseen forces that make strategic thinkers unstoppable. First, to influence others, you need to comprehend what motivates them. Every decision is tangled with emotions, needs, and beliefs. This is crucial knowledge for any strategic thinker. People can be pretty irrational. Even though we like to think we make logical choices, our emotions, habits, and biases often take over. Daniel Kahneman, a Nobel Prize-winning psychologist, explained that our brains use shortcuts called heuristics. which can lead us to make some odd decisions. As a strategist, understanding these quirks can help you predict how people will react and steer the outcome you want. There are three main human needs that drive behavior. First, autonomy, the need to feel in charge of our actions. Then, belonging, the desire for connection and acceptance. And lastly, competence, the wish to feel capable and effective. When your strategy aligns with these needs, whether you're negotiating, leading, or persuading, you tap into strong motivators. Now let's talk about storytelling. We are naturally drawn to stories. While facts and figures sway the mind, stories reach the heart. They build empathy, clarify complex ideas, and help us remember. Great strategists turn dull logic into compelling narratives. Next comes strategic communication and persuasion. Understanding what moves people is just the beginning. You must also learn to express your ideas in a way that resonates and inspires action. Listening is a crucial first step in persuasion. Before you can influence anyone, you need to grasp their fears, values, and objections. Active listening shows you respect them and uncovers the key to overcoming resistance. Speak their language. Effective communicators change their message to fit their audience's perspective. Use words and ideas that resonate with what they care about. For instance, analytical thinkers respond to data, while emotional thinkers lean towards feelings and visions. Adjust your language to connect with them directly. Let's consider the principle of reciprocity. People naturally feel the urge to return favors and kindness. This age-old social rule can be a powerful tool for influence. Start by giving, whether it's a compliment, helpful info, or a little gift. It builds goodwill and creates a subtle sense of obligation. But remember, authenticity matters. Manipulation will backfire. Lastly, think about framing and anchoring. How you present information can shape decisions. Framing focuses on specific aspects of a choice, while anchoring uses a reference point to influence how someone perceives an option. For example, saying something costs just $10 a day sounds cheaper than saying it costs $300 a month. Savvy strategists pay close attention to how they frame offers. With great power comes great responsibility. Influence is a tool, and like any tool, it can either create or destroy. Ethical influence means respecting people's choices and avoiding manipulation, coercion, or deceit. It's about finding win-win situations instead of taking advantage of others. When you act with integrity, your influence grows and builds trust, which is the foundation of lasting power. To be ethically influential, be transparent. Share your true intentions. Listen more than you speak, and really understand what others need and care about. Strive for mutual benefits. Remember, influence that harms others will hurt you in the end. Respect boundaries. Know when to push for change and when to hold back. Ethical influence isn't a sign of weakness. It's a smart strategy. Consider Nelson Mandela. His influence wasn't about force. It was about his ability to inspire healing. He connected with the fears and hopes of both sides during apartheid through listening, sharing a vision, and fostering empathy. He changed the mindset of a whole nation. Then there's Steve Jobs. He didn't just sell gadgets, he sold dreams. His presentations were stories that resonated with the identities and aspirations of his audience, making Apple a powerful brand. Now let's focus on execution. You may have a vision and a solid strategy. You've adapted and you know how to lead and influence. But none of that matters without execution. This is where dreams turn into reality. It's the link between ideas and actual results. Many people get stuck here. They have great plans but find it hard to take action or get bogged down by details. That's why this chapter is key. We'll explore how to bridge the gap between your plans and action by creating strategic habits, systems, and feedback loops to keep you moving forward, no matter the challenges. A solid plan without action is just a wish. Winners and dreamers differ, and it's simple. Winners actually do what they promise. Dreamers? They just keep planning, fantasizing, and hoping. So, how do you turn plans into actions? Break it down into small, clear steps. Complicated strategies can be a bit much. You've got to take your big dreams and turn them into manageable tasks. Instead of saying, I want to grow my business, try, I'll contact 5 potential clients today. This week, write a blog post. Next month, launch a social media ad. Each tiny step builds on the last, like stacking blocks. Over time, those blocks will become skyscrapers. Set deadlines and hold yourself accountable. Deadlines create a sense of urgency. Without them, tasks can drag on forever. Share your goals with a mentor or a friend for added accountability. Use apps or calendars to track your progress and reward yourself when you hit milestones. Accountability changes intentions into actions. Now, what about distractions and bottlenecks? Figure out what's stopping you from taking action. Is it fear, perfectionism, a lack of clarity? Maybe it's outside distractions. Organize your workspace and plan your schedule to keep things running smoothly, removing obstacles so you can gain momentum. Next up are strategic habits and systems. Execution goes beyond just willpower bursts. It's about daily habits and solid systems. Good habits pave the way for success, while systems ensure consistency. Focus on keystone habits, the small actions that lead to big changes. These could be morning routines that set your mindset, a daily review of priorities, or journaling to note your wins and lessons learned. Identify and nurture habits that support your goals. Create systems to repeat your successes. Systems are basically your routines designed to deliver results consistently. Think about holding a weekly planning meeting, a procedure for following up with customers, or monthly performance reviews. Systems cut down on decision fatigue and keep you focused. Finally, let's talk about measuring and refining your progress. Execution isn't a set-it-and-forget-it deal. You've got to track your results, learn from them, and adapt. Keep an eye on key metrics because what matters gets measured. Pick a few important indicators like sales, leads generated, the time spent on focused work, client satisfaction, and your own well-being. Check these numbers regularly to stay on top of things. Take time weekly or monthly to reflect. Ask yourself what worked, what didn't, and how you can improve. Use what you learned to adjust your strategy or execution plans. Don't forget to celebrate your wins and learn from the setbacks. Recognizing losses can really boost your motivation. Celebrate those little wins, no matter how small they seem. When you face setbacks, see them as chances to learn rather than failures. Every lesson you pick up sharpens your skills. Look at Elon Musk's approach. He breaks down his huge goals into tiny, doable tasks. He organizes his day in 5-minute chunks and keeps checking how he's doing. His strong focus on getting things done, combined with his big-picture thinking, drives real innovation and success. Now, let's talk about strategy. Having a strategy without taking action is like having a map but not going anywhere. Execution is what gets your ideas into the real world. It's all about turning goals into habits, building systems, and keeping track of your progress. That's how you change good intentions into real momentum. Remember, a plan only has power when you put it into action regularly. Your greatest strength lies in your ability to act, not just to think or plan. You're now equipped with tools to tackle any challenge ahead of you. You have a strategic mindset that knows to pause before jumping in. You understand your goals and know how to gather and use information wisely. You see the big picture and can predict roadblocks. You've learned to master timing, leverage, and influence others in a way that's ethical and effective. And most importantly, you now execute with discipline and thoughtfulness. This is what strategic thinking is all about. Use it, refine it, and watch how you turn challenges into chances. Thank you for being a part of this journey. Now it's your turn to tackle whatever comes next. Let's wrap things up. You've come a long way in understanding strategic thinking. You've built mental discipline, clarity, timing, leverage, and influence. Now it's crucial to make strategic thinking a part of your everyday life. Embed it in all that you do. Strategic thinking isn't just a skill for special occasions, it's a lifestyle. Every decision, every chat, every action can help you think smarter, maneuver better, and last longer. Ask yourself, how does this choice align with my long-term goals? What's the bigger picture here? What can I learn from this moment? Make these questions a part of your routine. Over time, your mind will start moving towards strategy instead of just reacting. You'll become unshakable in tough times. Life will throw challenges your way. Some will catch you off guard. Others might even shake your confidence. But when you think like a master strategist, you stay unshakable. You don't panic. You don't freeze. Instead, you assess the situation, adapt, and move forward with purpose. Those challenges, they become your training ground. And failures, they turn into lessons. With a strategic mindset, you can flip uncertainty to your advantage. Keep this in mind. Every expert was once a beginner. Every great thinker started with curiosity and a desire to learn. So keep sharpening your mindset, keep practicing your skills, and most importantly, keep taking action. The biggest victory isn't just about outsmarting everyone else, it's about outsmarting your own limits. You have the power. You have the tools. Now, go out there, live strategically, and win every single day. Thanks for letting me guide you on this journey. Here's to your unstoppable success.